Welcome to the Smack Happy Design Videocast, where we explore all things web and marketing. With your hosts, Nicole and Danielle.
Hello. Welcome to our very first podcast / videocast.
Yay.
So I wanted to start with some quick introductions. I am Nicole Hanasek. I own Smack Happy Design, and I've had the business for about 9 years, and I've been coding and designing websites for 20. Danielle, you want to say a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I am Danielle Ayera. I work for Nicole. I've been working for Smack Happy for about a year now. I do a lot of the SEO and the content stuff and everything else in between, a bit of project management as well. I've been working in marketing probably for 9-10 years now, different things here and there throughout the last 10 years, but I'm based out of Pittsburgh, so I'm all the way on the other side of the earth. To me, it's that far away, but yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. Okay. Alexis, you want to go?
I'm Alexis Keenan. I operate a video production company in San Francisco Bay Area, and I've been doing that for about 6 years. I usually work with small businesses, but basically I'm a storyteller, so I just help people tell the stories they need to do through video.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So this is our very first podcast, and I guess one question I have is this a podcast or a videocast? What is the correct name for this? Do you know, Alexis?
I would probably call it a videocast.
Videocast, yeah. Okay. But we'll also make the sound version of this available, so we'll have both. And we're hoping to do this at least once a month, maybe every other month. So keep your eyes open for the next set of videos that we'll be putting out. And let's talk a little about why we're doing this. I was thinking about it because I think we can, just kind of chat casually together, have some guests on and just talk about things around marketing and websites and video and all of the things that you need to do online, and hopefully try to help some of our clients to learn more and understand, why you want to do these things or how you want to do these things. Danielle, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so personally for me, I love learning new things, and I think that doing the podcast itself is something new to me. I guess videocast, sorry. And all the little things that we're probably going to be exploring along the way, we're kind of, we'll share expert opinions, and everything, but in some way we'll also be learning as we go. So it'll be kind of cool to experience all of that in a nutshell, I think, for me. So that's why I'm doing it, why I think we're doing it.
And Alexis, why did you agree to join us?
I agreed to join because marketing your business is a challenge when it comes to standing apart from, all of the other businesses out there. And video is a really important way to get your message across, and in a clear and concise manner. And you can really show what is unique about you and your story through video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to add to that, I think video is definitely becoming more and more important as we move forward. If you look at your Facebook feed, it's full of images and videos, more and more videos. And I think the reason for that is because, moving pictures catch your eye, right? And if it's, something interesting looking, then you're more likely to stop on it and maybe click on it to listen to what's happening. And I noticed they also, most of them will put the words on there now too, because a lot of people won't click on it. So it's probably also kind of important to do the captioning. But to step back to it getting more and more important, I think video and search is going to become more important. I think with all of the technology these days, it's pretty easy, or will be easy, for Google to just automatically translate all the words in a video, right? And do you know anything about that, Alexis?
I can't say that I do know much about Google auto translating. I know that there are a lot of functions. I think on YouTube you can have YouTube auto transcribe your video for you. And I mean, to go back to the comment about videos becoming more and more prevalent on Facebook feeds and etc. I hate to say it, but people's attention spans are getting less and less. And the idea that I want to learn something new, I'm going to sit and I'm going to read for 15 minutes is totally out the window. I mean, even articles now are delivered in a list rather than a whole article that you sit down and nestle in with and read. So video is just the next step in getting information across quickly and efficiently to combat the attention span issue as people scroll through their news feeds.
I'm writing down things because I'm like, I want to talk about all this stuff. So one of the things I wanted to say when we mentioned Facebook, there was one that popped up on mine the other day, and it's like super unrelated to any topic that we'll probably ever talk about, but it was from People magazine, and it was really like interesting how they did it. They almost did this little intro video, and it was about this woman. I'm assuming she was a writer or editor or something for People magazine, and she was trying those vampire facials. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of those, but they basically take, it's kind of strange, they take your own blood and then they use the platelets to do some kind of treatment to your face. I guess it's like a very safe corrector for things that you might want to correct on your face. Anyway, so they go through the whole thing and they kind of show you the procedure, and then this People magazine thing pops up, and it's like, hey, if you want to see the result, then you got to go to the website. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I was like, well, I have to see it now. I just watched this whole gross video of this lady getting needles in her face, and I had to go to it. So I think that's interesting, like the way people are like manipulating like how they're doing it, with the text, with like gaining somebody's interest and trying to pull people in. And a couple of other people that I think do that really well are, I don't know if you read Vice magazine, but Vice always posts these crazy little videos that you have to watch more of. They almost do like a summary video. And then when you go to it, there's an actual like long full length video and an article and some other things supporting it, which is really cool. And then about captioning, I know a little bit about captioning only because, so my brother's deaf, and I learned, I guess like 3 years ago. I don't know if this is still best practice right now, but I'm assuming it hasn't changed much since then. The auto captioning sometimes, I guess, comes off offensive to the deaf community because it's not exactly saying what you're saying. So if you're like describing something really specific in the video and it's, replacing mall with ball or something like that, you're not exactly being truthful to whoever's reading the captions. So while I don't think captions have a lot of SEO value right now, and they might not ever, but it's still value to like a portion of people who might be, viewing your video.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think a lot of times, people who build websites or do things like make videos or whatever, they forget about accessibility. And it's something that, we try to incorporate, with a lot of the stuff that we do, making sure that there are links that help you like skip down the page, and thinking about color blindness for charts, like that. So that's an excellent point, that if you do make a video, you probably want, to take the time to add the captions and make sure that you're hitting a larger audience and, taking care of everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Google has now too, when you hover over a search result that's a video, it does like a little couple of second clip. It almost creates just, I don't know, like a little clip of the video. There's no sound, but I guess another way video is kind of like going up with Google.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some different ways that we can use video. So this is obviously one example. You can interview somebody, or you can just, riff on a topic. But what are some of the other great ways to incorporate video into your business?
Well, I've talked to several people who want to use video to sort of bring short news clips. So real estate is a good example of this. There's always something new happening in the market, and you want to deliver that message quickly, but you also want to be the face delivering the message. So rather than sending out an email or something, you have, a quick video, maybe 30 seconds long, where you're delivering, the snapshot of the market at the time, which is cool. There's also, if you have a product and your product is maybe a little complicated, or maybe even not, but you want to have maybe education on how to use the product or different ways to use it, you can use video to do that. There's even internally, you can teach your staff how to do something. It's a never-ending use for video. And even if you have like a brick and mortar shop and you want to tell the story of your bakers waking up at 2:00 in the morning to make the bread and show how fresh it is, and that really even sort of get people excited, and they can already smell the bread and they're not even there yet, just based on the video. And then you've got people lining up out the door because you've shown the love and care that goes into making this bread. So it's really useful in a variety of different ways, and it doesn't have to just be, hey, here I am, this is my business, come work with me. You can really get down and be creative with it.
Now I want bread. I'm a bread person. I love bread. So now I'm going to think about that the rest of the podcast.
You're welcome.
Videocast. I got to call it a videocast, everybody. I'm wrong. I guess it will be a podcast, though, when it's just the audio version.
Yeah. We'll probably end up doing both. I know. So Alexis has worked with us. She helped me create a video kind of telling the story about the process that we go through. And then she's also helped us with client testimonials, which was really helpful. That was one of the things my business coach recommended I do, and she wanted me to just do it, on my phone and just record like a couple minutes of a person talking. And I tried it, and it could have been okay, but it was too much work. I didn't want to have to do it, and I felt awkward about it. And so then I decided that I would rather have Alexis handle it, because it looks so much more professional and the sound quality is better, and she puts a little logo at the front and the logo at the back and all of that. So
they're really nice videos.
Yeah. And when you do something like that, we're promoting it on social media, we put it on our website. If we came across a client, for example, you mentioned real estate, Alexis, and we have a real estate client, and he gave us a testimonial. So if we were trying to sell to another real estate agent, we could send him that testimonial and say, here's how we helped this guy and why he loves us, right? So it can help you in so many ways, I think. Are there any things that I kind of skipped in where you can use your videos or how to use your videos?
I wanted to ask you really quick, Alexis, I want to put this thought in your head. There is something new that popped up over the last year, for me anyway, it's new. Seeing people, I can't remember the name of the apps that you use, but you can respond to emails with a video, not with an email. So how do you feel about that? I mean, I mean, the person who's responding in the email is going to have, I guess control over that. So should there be like an element of like tact there? Or is there something you should do like before you create a video? Like script it out or?
I think, especially if you're creating a video for your business, and let's just assume that these people are responding to a business email rather than personal, you should always make sure that your video looks good. There is something, I mean, everybody has an iPhone now. Everybody has the capability of creating their own videos. You don't necessarily need to hire a professional, but that doesn't mean it's okay for your video to be shaky or have bad light or have bad audio. And unfortunately, I feel like these things are just going to become normal, and people won't, really, they won't really care anymore, because it's just like, it's just my phone, look at that. But that also means that your business will stand apart that much more if your video looks good. So I would say that, if you're responding to email and video, which to me I don't know why you would do that, but if you're responding to email with video, then, and it's for your business, then make sure that the camera's steady and you're well lit and somehow your audio is coming through crystal clear, because that's the face of your business, and it's important to keep the standard high.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like one of the lessons or education moments from like the networking group. Make sure that you're consistent in your appearance, right? Dress the role that you want to portray. So if you're doing these videos, make sure that you always look, that your hair is combed, and there was some stuff on my table behind me, I got rid of it. So look at your surroundings. I think a lot of people always forget about that. I did a video interview with someone once. I was interviewing her to work for us, and on her bed behind her was like a pile of laundry. So she did not get the job because she was not paying attention to the details. And I think it's definitely something to be conscious of. And one of the things we're going to do with each of our video podcasts is create a little download to go with them. So we'll include some notes about, how to do your video, why to do your video, and then we'll also give you some tips on if you're doing it by on your own. Some of the stuff that Alexis just mentioned, I think, and then, being cognizant of your background. That could be quite embarrassing.
Yeah. I think there's a whole bunch of memes, actually, of people that are taking selfies with, like, weird things in the background. I think that's
like the toilet selfies and like the things you don't realize are actually, like, like the ones that are the best are when someone's, like, trying to take sort of a beauty sort of selfie, and this looks good, but then they forgot that they didn't have pants on or something, and the camera is there, and those ones are the worst. So I can't believe that they actually became public somehow.
Exactly. Always pay attention to, and that's why a lot of times you want to just go for it and hire the professional, because the professional will take the moment to scan everything, your face, the background, the lighting, like all of these things that if you're busy trying to decide what you want to say on camera, how you want to say it, do you look good, and all of these things on your own, then anybody would have trouble remembering the little details of what's on the dresser behind you. So it's not, that doesn't make you a bad video person. It just means that there's a lot going on and you need an extra person, you need a professional there to help you.
Yeah. And on top of that, like when I worked with you, you kind of helped me sort of script out what to say. And then like in the moment, like I hate being on camera. I'm so awkward. I'm a little more comfortable with it now, but you made me feel comfortable, like I was talking to you instead of at the camera. Yeah. And for my first video, like my first real professional video that I invested in, like that was so important. So let's talk for a moment about like when you should hire a professional to do your videos and when it's okay not to. I know we kind of talked about it a little, like if you're going to send these email videos, you're obviously not going to hire a professional every time you want to send something. But maybe, you know, when is it appropriate and when should you absolutely, you know, hire somebody?
I would say if you want to shoot video on your own, you would be okay with testimonial videos and like the example I gave earlier with real estate, like little sound news bites, or if you have your own like little video blog type thing. You once a week you post something, you hold your camera, you say something for 30 seconds and then move on, then that's totally fine to do it on your own. Testimonial videos, you can do it on your own. Just, you know, make sure that your testimonial subject good. If you want a video that is representing you and your business, then I would absolutely hire a professional because, again, going back to the point that you already have so much on your mind and you're worried about how you're coming across, and it's a lot better if you have somebody that's the one that's worrying about, do you look like, how's the light, are these, did you say what you wanted to say? That sounded a little halty, a little weird. You stumbled on this word. Let's say that again. You're not going to remember that in the moment if you're shooting it yourself. And if you have your friend doing it for you, they might not catch that either because they're busy, you know, trying to figure out how to do this. They're not a professional. So absolutely hire a professional if you are creating something to represent you and your business. And that's going to be the forefront of how you come across to the world and your future clientele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an excellent point. I know there were a couple of lines in my video where I think you had me redo it maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 times. And, you know, that's, you know, I don't know what it sounds like coming out of my mouth. I've got a rough idea, but like falling on your ears, you know, you've got a much better.
And sometimes it takes that many times. And if you were doing it on your own, you might give up after 2 or 3 times. But, you know, I know the story that should be created or that we have discussed that we want to create. And as we're creating the video, I'm listening for what you're saying and how that's going to fit into the story and how it's going to support the story in the end. And it's important to have that professional there that can listen for these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say one thing about hiring a professional versus not hiring a professional. There was a video that I was involved in when I worked for a wire and cable distributor, and there was talk about trying to do something, you know, on our own and using our own video equipment and things like that. And no one was really a professional. So it ended up, you know, going to a professional company. And it was so funny because all of these things we were talking about were all involved. Like, you know, it was well scripted. You know, they helped them figure out how to, you know, stand and where to go and what to do. But one of the best things, though, was that this gentleman who was the star of the video was so unbelievably nervous. And we knew that. Like, after the fact, he was like, I was sweating so much, and it was so bad, and this and that. And where the magic comes in for me is when a professional comes in and they do this wizardry with, like, just little tweaks here and there with editing and, you know, making sure that they don't look super sweaty. I mean, just things like that. I mean, you couldn't tell at all when you saw the video that he was nervous. And, you know, got the point across, and it was a successful video for what it was. So, I mean, that to me is really big, you know, whether you would hire a professional to do something like that. I mean, it was a huge, you know, important thing for them to have a good video out of it. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for someone who's thinking about doing it or not doing it.
That's kind of where I was going to go next, was the editing, which can be very time consuming. And, you know, if you're not doing this all the time, then your tools probably aren't as good as what Alexis has. And it's just, for me, it's like well worth it to, you know, pay somebody else like Alexis to get it done, because it's going to take her so much less time than it would take me and then I could be spending that time, working on my business instead. So that's kind of another thing to consider too.
I wouldn't know the first thing to do with editing
Yeah.
video at all, nor would I want to. Just so much respect for like people that take a lot of time to do things, to make it perfect. And I think video is definitely a big thing.
Yeah. And that goes to pretty much everything. Like there's the whole saying, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like any business owner is already doing so much, and you can't possibly do it all and do it all well. And all of this time that you have should be spent on doing what you want to do and perfecting your business and perfecting the talents that actually matter to you. And I mean, for example, for me, I tried to make my own website. I did, but it's hard. It's time consuming. I can't even imagine doing what you guys do. So when it came down to it, I ended up finding somebody else to do it for me, because I don't have time for that. And I'm not perfecting my editing skills, my video skills, when I'm trying to figure out how to make a website work. So It is important to recognize when we're being too frugal and we're actually wasting precious time and possibly money trying to learn something that isn't really of value to us in the long run, and it could be done better and faster by somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes well worth the investment.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So if someone were to do some of those little videos on their own for like some of the smaller stuff, do you have any recommendations on like equipment? I know a lot of people just use their iPhones, but like, are there any microphones they could use to make the sound better, or any other tips you have there, Alexis?
Yeah, so definitely, I was actually looking it up the other day. Since I don't shoot with an iPhone, it's not something that I know firsthand, like which microphone to get, but I did scan the internet the other day, and there are microphones, little tiny ones. Rode, RODE, is a good brand, and that just plugs into your phone, and you set it on the table, and it's like a little shotgun mic, which means it's pointing directly at you and it's focusing in on your audio. And that'll just make sure that you're getting more targeted audio, so your voice rather than the surrounding room. Another thing you can do is similar. There's microphones that you can plug in. That's a lavalier mic, and that's something that you plug onto your clothes. It's a little small mic, and that really makes sure that you're just getting your voice, no other room sounds, which is especially good if you're in an echoey space or in a small space and you can't set things up. And I mean, this is going to sound weird, but Google it. Microphones for your iPhone.
Yeah.
Pages and pages come up.
We'll include some suggestions in our download. So
yeah, definitely. But I would, if you're at all serious about making a series of videos and you're going to be doing it on your own, I would definitely invest in a microphone. They aren't that expensive. I think the most expensive one I saw was $89 or something like that. So for something that you would be using on a consistent basis to make a series of video blogs or whatever you have going on, then it's well worth the investment to have good audio. You can have the worst image, but if your audio is good, then it saves the day.
Yeah, and then lighting wise, I think natural light is probably best. Like we're all, I think, lit up by natural light right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something you want to consider, and you don't want the light behind you, because then you're going to become a silhouette. So you want it either like in front of you or on your side, which will.
I actually have all of my lights on right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get a decent amount of sunlight in here, but it's not direct, like at this point. But I have a desk lamp that I have on, and I have an overhead, general lighting thing. And it's kind of funny because I don't know if the same rules sort of apply to video, which they probably don't, but I've learned a lot from a client that I work with that does lighting services. So they always talk about best practices to sort of have lighting when you're in a room with people. And it's like, actually creates a bad experience just in general to be kind of either have over lighting or not have enough lighting. So that's one of the things I would definitely like think about, like, well, if I'm going to make this video, you know, try to test out some different lighting to see like what works.
And do a quick little test video first, you know, just do like a minute and then take a look at how you look and how you sound, make sure it's good before you go through your whole spiel, because you don't want to have to redo it. Sometimes you'll have like background noise too. My friend did this video and there was just so much wind that the video ended up being unusable, which is kind of a shame because she spent like 20 minutes going on about her topic.
Yeah.
So definitely do a little tester first.
Yeah, never shoot in the wind. If you're outside, make sure it's a still day. Don't
Yeah.
be in front of a playground where there's kids laughing and running around. It's just always be aware of your surroundings, because even if you're using an onboard mic, especially because it's picking up surround sound, so literally everything that you're surrounded with, the microphone is picking up. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your voice is going to win out of all of those sounds. So be aware of your surroundings at all times, and that counts for light too. You know, you can blow out your face just as easily as you can shadow your face. So if, you know, the sun is here and it's all like this, you're going to have 2 holes for your eyes and like a mouth, and there's going to be no definition.
Like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, I was actually picturing like a skeleton, like a scary skeleton thing with hair. That's what I feel like I would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I guess something I was gonna say, which is kind of funny to ask, because if you could, if anyone's listening, they're gonna have to watch this to see what the background looks like. But I was gonna ask you, you know, with my background right now, like, you know, always being aware of your surroundings, is there any like tips that you would give me, you know, or things that I should or shouldn't have that I have there now? I mean, I have like a nice calming painting above there. It's my grandfather's original artwork, so I like to keep that around the house. But anyway, what would you say about my background?
So for your whole setting, the biggest thing that I would say is to make your camera eye level. Right now it's looking down at you.
Okay.
Which it's like, so everything is a language, right? And camera angles are a language, and looking down at you diminishes you. Looking up at you makes you powerful. So if you're just trying to get a message straight across, you want the camera to be eye level.
Okay.
And in the background, I think the painting's fine. The way it is behind your head is good. If you were to shift it all, I would make the painting more to one side, and then your head is in the white space of the wall.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, composition-wise, I was going to say something similar because everything's in the middle of your video.
Yeah, I have so much trouble with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why we've talked about this before, Nicole and I, because I like, you know, all the little things in her background. But I was trying to make something fun in mine, but I have this OCD thing, and I had trouble with the bookshelf being on the, like, one side of the room instead of being like right in the middle of the wall, which works out anyway because the door is right here, so it would kind of like interfere with the door opening, but so I can live with it. But yeah, that's funny that you say that, because we've talked about this before.
So in like your situation, I don't know what your space looks like, but you would just shift to your left, to your right, and then have the camera. Yeah, you know.
That's a way better composition right there.
And now I have like the weird crappy dog bed.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's not in there though. He didn't visit me this morning. He's in his other bed, sunning himself in the other room.
Yeah, but you can see, like, if you look at that composition now, you've got like 3 points happening, and it's just a way better composition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we could almost think about it as like artwork.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about how I like that this image that I have on the wall is like breaking that white space over here. Because I'm an artist, so I'm obsessed with stuff like that.
Yeah. And it all applies differently to different things, but somehow in some way it's all related. So it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just trying to get some of the listeners.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Thinking
get
about their
to
background.
see what our lives look like a little bit.
And generally, like clutter, it's better to have less clutter than more clutter, always. And then I think you mentioned before, if you're a business and you're doing video for your business, try and make sure that your background, if it's not totally ambiguous, like a potted plant in a shelf, then try and make it relevant to who you are. So an example I gave the other day talking, doing some consulting, if you're a librarian, for example, have some books behind you. Don't have, like a computer or potted plants and, some medical equipment. Like have books to support who you are as a professional. Same goes for anything. If you're a gardener, have a tomato plant background. Something that is an example of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of these food examples, though. Now I want bread and I want tomatoes because I love tomatoes too.
I'm sitting in my backyard and looking at the tomato plants, so that's why that one came out.
Oh, so you have a garden?
Sort of. It's a thick garden, but it's a garden.
Hey, it's food nevertheless.
Mm-hmm. All right, so was there anything else either of you wanted to make sure we cover in this video podcast / get together?
I think we had a really good conversation. I think I can take a few things with me and learn. One thing that you mentioned was the eye level thing. So I bought the desk before I bought the Mac computer, and it's so big that I probably have to adjust myself. So I need to get a new chair, which I've been trying to do, Nicole, for like ever. I need to get a new chair because I sit in it so much now that it's like the pad on the bottom of the chair is just like done. But yeah, so I guess I could rate like do something like that.
Books or something. Stand up, or you could even sit further back in the room if that helps. Sit on a phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have 2 monitors, Danielle? I don't have 2 monitors. I can have 2 monitors, but if I had 2 monitors, there'd be way more tabs open than there.
Yeah.
More space to fill for me here.
Yeah. I was also thinking, like, sometimes we have mugs or something, like if you set that on the desk in front of you, then that might be, like a slightly better angle. But something to think. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you both for joining me here. I'm not sure yet what our next topic will be, but that will be decided soon, and we will probably add some notes to the YouTube listing for the video. And I hope you will join us again if you've listened to this. We're open to your feedback and questions. And if you're also interested in talking to us and joining us, then reach out. And I guess that's it. So thank you both for coming.
Thank you
thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to the Smack Happy Design Videocast. For more information and downloads, visit smackhappy.com/videocast, where you'll find more episodes and the opportunity to subscribe on YouTube or iTunes. You can also sign up for our newsletter delivered to your inbox monthly. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Again, that's smackhappy.com/videocast. See you next time.